Stand to my chorus and welcome back to another episode of RogueTech as we get into the campaigns of Howl's Harrows. And last time we got our hands on a brand new Axeman, and I don't know what to do with it. Oh, I have ideas of what to do with it, but the problem is, in order to build all of those ideas, I need to rip, well, half the gear out of the Screamer that I only just recently got back. So yeah, that's going to take a little bit of thinking, and since we're on the hunt for things in order to maybe rebuild the Screamer again, flushing them out. We believe that the Federated Suns has landed in elite lands on Bellatine. Its continued presence inside contested territory is unacceptable and threatens to distract our own forces into trying to track it down and engage it. We need you to locate and eliminate this lance. This will be a 417 priority salvage, 458,400 Seables, and 4 skull difficulty. So let's drop down onto the planet and see if we can't cause a little bit of havoc. Ooh, it's a bit of a desert biome. I'm going to be missing the city, no doubt. But you know what? Every so often you need to head out into the countryside to see what sort of things you can enjoy. And hopefully nobody will be trapped. Wow, that is a really bright cockpit from the champion and the Screamer. Alrighty, so the objective is somewhere off over here. We're dealing with at least 12 units so far. Probably a reinforcement lance on the way, so 16. So 16 versus 8 seems pretty reasonable. Alright, Jester is once again driving the champion. Jester also recently has finally made it to level 10 on his gunnery. Level 11 because I believe the champion has a rangefinder in the cockpit. It does, for an additional +1 gunnery. So he now has hit the full 10, which hopefully will mean he's maximum accuracy. After this, I will probably start working on his tactics in order to move him super fast. Death Crusade in Kerensky's stick, which is just hilariously strong in all the things that it does. Paradox in the Charger with the twin boomsticks. Howl rocking her Gauss Wolf, which I kind of feel like I want to change, but I just don't know what to do to it. Mockingbird inside the Regator. Finn backing things up in the Catapult Mark III. Coach in the Thanatos with all of its nasty, nasty acid MMLs, and of course the Pyro's Laser MS, which I'm going to set to overload immediately, and Showboat in the Screamer, which has only just recently got rebuilt and will probably need to be rebuilt again. So, with the introductions out of the way, let us come surging on forward to see if we can't run into the enemy. Now, we did, of course, bring the full capture crew. The full capture crew, of course, being the Catapult, the Kerensky stick, as well as the Screamer in the background for a little bit of additional flames to throw in on the enemy. Probably need to expand the capture group a little bit more. Probably need to have at least one mech with some form of plasma rifle assault capabilities, which may end up being the Marauder. We're not really sure on that. Things have changed since the last time I was kind of planning. I still haven't decided if I want to put a long time on any of my mechs. I also don't have the ammunition to put a long time on any of my mechs, so I guess it's a bit of a wash at the moment. But the other idea, of course, being the plasma rifles and plasma lances, although the plasma lances will be somewhat difficult to actually get in on target, considering they require you to have to be at a range of like 40 meters, so not exactly the longest range weapon in the game. A bit of a problem to try and utilize that thing effectively, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do about it, because normally what I'd kind of want to do is go to 6 plasma rifles. 6 plasma rifles gives you a metric boatload of fire to be able to just rain down on the enemy, and it can basically ensure that you will have a fairly decent time of actually shooting people. I find it to be quite helpful and useful. However, well, 6 plasma rifles is 36 tons, plus an additional 6 tons of ammunition. You're up to 42 tons of pod space that you need to find. And, well, in order to get that, you're probably going to need a fairly large mech with a lot of hard points. Now, the Marauder is probably big enough to actually do that. Unfortunately, the Marauder doesn't have the hard points to do that. So, really, we need to find a mech with 6 energy hard points that I can cram all the plasma into, since clearly the plasma lance is not really a good enough backup for that sort of weapon system, especially because the plasma lance is, quite frankly, it's a melee weapon. So the idea of using it at long range, while appealing, is probably not exactly going to work out. So we'll just continue to have everybody move on forward. We've all made it to the road as we're going to travel on down it towards the enemy, who will eventually see us. Time to fly the Screamer on forward. The Screamer, of course, being a lovely little mech, which has quite a bit of range, although not as much as it used to have. The Screamer used to be able to almost literally fly halfway across the larger size maps, because we had improved jump jets into it. However, it originally had some sort of rotary AC-10, I'm gonna guess? Yeah, not really sure. But the Screamer originally had directional jump jets we've put back into it, which give you bonuses from death from above. Oh, it's a Jaeger mech. Okay, so it may just be a stock Jaeger mech with with 2 AC2s and 2 AC5s. So if that's the case, it'll be an easy kill. The simple fact of the matter is that the Jaeger mech is woefully armored for what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, got a whole bunch of missiles incoming, but you know what? We happen to have the point defense available to be able to handle that. Although desert biome may mean that the Thanatos is going to have a little bit of difficulty actually being able to continue that rate of defense. We got a vulture as well as a trebuchet. Do we know anything about the vulture? We do not. We're going to need to get somebody with better sensors on closer. I do have a line of sight onto the enemy, and I shall engage them utilizing the wonderful Risk Silver Bullet Gas Rifle. I'm still not fully sold on it. I know it's been so long, and well, that. It's like, cool, you've done like medium laser bursts all over it, which is pretty interesting, not gonna lie. But is it worth it? I don't quite know. It is chill though, and that's kind of helpful because if you're gonna build a mech that is kind of basically designed in order to do purely... Oh wow, you actually punched through. Do I want to steal the vulture? I kind of do. Right, we're gonna have to be a little bit careful. Until we see what else the enemy has, the vulture is to be considered a fairly primary target for capture. Vultures will have potentially Clan XL engines on board. Not really sure about that. We don't really know specifically what variant we're dealing with. So that'll be very important to find out. Oh, it's a thumper. Great. More artillery. Artillery, of course, the bane of anybody who wants to drive basically a normal style of mech force. Seeing as we do not drive a super jumpy, aggressive version, aside of course from the Screamer, we can be made rather vulnerable to artillery under the right circumstances. However, luckily for us, this is just the Thumper, so the Thumper is moderately ignorable. Also, we have a really good anti-missile defense system. Ooh, big cannon firing our way, missed by 40%, so we're feeling pretty lucky about that one. And we have identified a sniper heavy artillery piece. Oh, we need you. We definitely need that. Okay. Alright, so the Screamer is up and ready to rock. Now, the one thing that is really lucky is we don't have to care about actually hitting our target. About saving the vehicles themselves, because the Thumper and the Sniper, just by blowing them up, we save the stuff automatically, so it's not really much of a problem. In fact, he may actually kill himself. And the Screamer getting shot at a little bit. One of them actually managing to connect, which is a little bit sad. I was kind of hoping to be able to completely avoid any damage at all, given how much massive amount of evasion we have stacked, but I suppose we can't get everything that we want. We'll just continue to run on forward, and we have identified a Lament. Ooh, this one has twin Risk 2s, so probably not the greatest Lament ever. Not gonna lie. If you don't have Risk AC5s, are you really trying? Although, we may actually be building a Mackie which doesn't have access to, you know, Risk ACs at all. We'll be running normal racks, well, a single clan rack and an inner sphere rack in order to cram everything together. So that may end up being the design that I decide to go with. I'm still not sold, because there's so many cool things I'd love to do. Alright, I shifted right here to make sure that I'm shooting the front of the Vulture. He has a 2 light autocannon 2s, an X-Pulse, and Streak MML 9s. Interesting. Don't think all that dangerous. Oh, wow, this is cool. Twin LB5s, 2 SRM6s. I'm not sold on the SRM6s, but the twin medium X-Pulses are quite nice. That's not a terrible version. The Trebuchet is an arc launcher, triple medium lasers, and 2 LRM-15, so a fairly basic version. And of course the ever famous Anubis with the twin Risk MML 10s, which we seem to run into everywhere. I'm not quite sure why, but it just seems to happen. Yeah, I'll shoot the Hunter perhaps. After all, I do have the range on him, although maybe I don't want to engage too much on this one. You know, we'll wait. We'll wait until I can get into Inferno SRM range so I can start barbecuing people. But so far these targets are nothing too serious just yet, although that can change relatively quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you. Okay, so we have a 100-ton King Crab on the field. That is now primary target number uno, because I would like a King Crab. That'd be a 100-ton assault mech with 2 ballistic hardpoints in the arms. I could do so many things with that. Oh, we could do many, many things. Okay, so since we now have a better target with which we want to actually engage from, find me that Vulture and plow a shell right on into him. That was a fairly significant miss, and you actually hit the target that I'm trying to actually steal now. So King Crabs are, well, rather deadly in most versions. This is actually a version that I kind of want to build with twin light rotary AC5s, except I'm going to replace those, of course, with Risk Rack 5s. The SRM6 probably won't bother with. You know, I'm going to have a lot of fun building that, if I can get my hands on it. This is a 470 priority salvage, though, so there's a good chance I can get my hands on that, especially if we get really lucky and they decide they want to bundle everything together, like some sort of bad insurance commercial. 44% is not bad. I may have to take that shot. He's also in MML range, so you know what? I'm actually going to go full Warlord on this one. I'm going to take a target at our little Trebuchet. Oh, we missed. It was a coin flip, and it could have been bad. Well, it could have been better. So 6 acid onto the trebuchet already. I have no qualms with blowing that thing sky bloody high. We got an avatar in back. This is the normal avatar with the 2 LRM-10s, the medium pulses, the medium lasers, and the LB-10. It's a good avatar. And more incoming fire on the Screamer, which I'm very happy about, because the more they shoot the Screamer, the less they actually have an opportunity to really kill anybody that I care about. So, Mockingbird, bring the Rakatar forth, for it has targets that must be killed. The trebuchet will be a beautiful target, so let's just run this gun up to maximum. I'm going to full-on Warlord to make sure that I get the best accuracy I can, and let it rip. And there it's gone. I love this thing so much. Alright, so the Rakatar are already picking off the first target of the day. It'll be able to move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. We may still want to steal the Vulture anyway, purely because the Vulture may have clan tech on board. I don't see any clan tech here. Yeah, probably not, actually. But it is still a Vulture, and I like Vultures, but I'm probably just not going to need the parts for it. Bringing the Gas Wolf on forward should also be a fairly decent snipey-ish mech because of its twin Gauss rifles. However, the accuracy not looking to be amazing. I'm kind of thinking that somebody might actually be packing some form of ECM. So, yeah, you may as well fire out the Vulture. Double tap. Missed by both times. If he had missed just a little bit more to the side, he may have actually hit one of his friends, which was kind of the goal in the mind. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out. Kerensky stick to roll on forward. I now feel a little bit sad that I hadn't taken that shot earlier in order to just try and blow him into little tiny pieces. Don't want to risk shooting my own people in the back. Because the Hag is basically fires multiple shots that scatter out, kind of like an LBX autocannon. Kind of actually like a rotary LBX autocannon, but it's much too dangerous to attempt that. Okay, got the Rack 5s blasting on towards us. Lucky for us, no connections. We're going to have to make sure that thing shuts off quickly because we know just how deadly Twin Rack 5 is. And we want to make sure that he doesn't get to do that. But yeah, Twin Rack 5 in the arms obviously is going to be the first step. I believe I have 2 recoil compensators. I also have 2 weapon mounts that I can throw into that. I have a flak targeting computer to improve things a little bit more. I wish I had a better, like, ballistic targeting computer. That would be awesome, but I may be getting way ahead of myself. Like, this King Crab could just annihilate so much of my force. Plasma cannons would be interesting, but I don't really see the plasma cannon as sinking super well. Well, maybe. Twin light PPC, definitely not. Not a fan of that at all. I think I will rip the twin light PPCs out completely and immediately. With any luck, the center torso of this mech will actually stay intact. Okay, it looks like the SM2 not shooting. A Yellow Jacket. Oh, Yellow Jackets can be very, very bad, or also not terrible at all. It really depends on which variant you get. They are either one of the deadliest flyers you can run into, aside of course from Nidhogg's, because nothing beats Nidhogg's, or they can be just hilariously undergunned and underpowered. So I don't think quite as bad as Rippers, but they're not as fast as Rippers are. The Lament is shifting onto the side, opening fire with his Risk Rack 2s, managing to get 2, 3, 4-ish hits. So a fairly solid amount of damage is just spread all over the mech, which is very helpful. Alright, Charger. Time for you to continue a charging. And I would actually like to get pretty close to you. Could get to the side of the Lament. Now, let's get closer to the target that we can get, because we need the accuracy. That's a 67, which I'll probably hold on to. Yep, full Warlord. Let's start ripping into him. So we're going to slug and slug. 73s. Got a single hit onto him. Unfortunately, the second one managed to miss quite a bit, which was rather disappointing, but we'll work with it. We can work through our disappointment. That is not the concern. The Jaeger mech, surprisingly terrible shots. Why, Howl, do you... Why does this mech always have trouble actually hitting things? Okay, good. I saw both streaks fly over the target. I didn't think I was going to be able to hit the blackjack all that efficiently anyway, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't put a Gauss rifle into the back of one of my important mechs. Speaking of important mechs, let's shift right on forward to see if we can't get some pressure going down. I would like to check ranges utilizing my SRMs, and I need to on-target. And then reset that. Yeah, I'm not in King Crab range just yet. Could start lighting people on fire. The Lament might be an interesting target, but it's a little bit far outside of range. The Hunter is basically ignorable. Really could light this Jaeger mech on a lot of fire, actually. I don't really think it's worth it from this range just yet. I think, again, I'm just going to wait. Because next turn, I will be in range of that King Crab. And that's when I'm going to want to be able to shovel 210 heat down on top of him. Okay, Avatar moving forward. He's a standard version, so he's got a great mix of weapon systems. None of his missiles were able to connect, so we're feeling pretty fine about that one. 17 of 20 were shot down, which is lovely. The Thanatos can continue to move on forward. It actually has a back shot on something. Go show me how good of a shot that is. Oh god, that's an Arrow 4. Hitting it, good job. And now Jester can take advantage of the enhanced accuracy provided by the inspired bonus. There we go, that's good shots. What does it show currently if you wanted to shoot that yellow jack out of the sky? 16%, not really willing to waste a heavy Gauss rifle shell on into the target. I think a Jaeger mech actually probably does need to die the mostest, so... Nailed him! And the acid follow-up. Looks like we got his ammunition to explode and that took out the entirety of the mech. So there we go. Mech destroyed. Although he did have some really nice kit on board. Okay, I'm jumping on forward with the Screamer, and the Screamer will actually be in range of the medium lasers. Will I utilize the medium lasers? I will not, because I'm going to brace. We keep the protection going on because next turn is going to be the death from above on a King Crab, potentially. I think the range might be there. It might be a little bit short. If the King Crab comes forward, absolutely we've got the shot. If not, then it might be a little bit on the edge of what we can pull off. But what I would like to do is be able to jump onto his side and light him on all the fire. Although I probably shouldn't use Berserker. Because if I use Berserker, then he will probably explode. Because Berserker will cause us to do a metric ton of damage in death from above. Which kind of means that combining it with the Fire Fist is not all that great, now that I stop to think about it. Oh, I need to come up with a better solution to that problem. Get rushing on forward. Do you have a shot at the Yellow Jacket? Is it any good with the Gauss? Can't really cycle through. Great accuracy with the Lament. The Vulture, also an easy pick off right there. The Hunter, an easy target. The King Crab, only Gauss rifle. The Blackjack, not really. That is a really good shot with the Yellow Jacket. The Yellow Jacket's going to have to come back to utilize his weapon system, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick off the Lament, I think. Well, you can jam the gun. That's my big concern, is the fact that the gun might actually stop working. Or the heavy armor ramps, because I think I'm going to need them to barbecue out. Death Crusade, what's your gunnery? Gunnery 12? I think you're like 1 away from being able to get full accuracy out of this one. Alright, see if you can't break in the Lament. A whole ton of shots. He's now unsteady, lost his evasion, and is now quite vulnerable. Which is, you know, a lovely amount of damage that you can deal so quickly. And we had, in Apollo's Viper's campaign for a short period of time, well, not a short period of time, a fairly long while, a catapult that had 2 heavy MRM-30s. And, well, honestly, our Orion is very similar to that. In some ways, I should probably pull out the Hag and just mass, like, lasers or missile or something? Well, other missiles, I suppose. Oh, great. It looks like the Thumper has some sort of electronic countermeasures that I don't want to deal with. Both of our guns have jammed. Well, that's okay. We'll just be able to position for a better shot in the next round. Assuming, of course, twin unjammed. Okay, feeling fine about that one. So next round, we'll be able to just start laying into another prospective target. How good is the Lament's forward armor? In relatively good condition, considering the amount of damage that we did to it. Like, the amount of damage had we... Okay, twin PPC. That was the light PPCs from the King Crab. Did not connect on the champion. Really, there's just a nice little target board here for him to go after. His rotary AC5s have unjammed. Come on forward. Come step forward just a little bit. Just to make sure that I can get in close utilizing my flying mech. Nope, he's not going to do it. The Hunter's going to shift on forward. Try and fire his weapon systems, and nothing got out. Is there actually a path down here, or is it all the way up here? I don't think... Yeah, I can't get down here. I know this map a little bit better now. Right, so we're going to have to sort of arc around down here and come back towards them, which may make it a little bit harder to actually get the catapult on a target. In the meantime, we have a whole bunch of other mechs that we can sort of burn our way through. And I could actually bounce the Screamer on top of the SM2 just to make sure that he doesn't ever get a shot at us. Because a sniper artillery piece is very dangerous. Like, you can't discount just how much damage he can do if he hits. See? He missed, and he still managed to do a fairly decent amount of damage. Alright, Howl. Let's bring your mech on into a nice good old position to start opening fire. We're going to make the walk on this one, just to keep accuracy high. Of course, accuracy ain't exactly anything to write home with. Might shoot the Lament. That might be a good shot here. The King Crab is a good shot, but I want to steal it. Oh, that's too good to pass up. There we go. Okay, don't have to worry about the incoming Arrow 4 anymore. Yeah, sure, we could have fired at one of the other mechs, but it wouldn't have killed it. So, in this case, we've actually eliminated a mech with fairly decent shooting right there. Okay, on to the enemy, phase 22. I'm not quite sure he's going to move. It's going to be the Lament. It's going to pull back a little bit and then start firing at the Gauss Wolf. Incredibly accurately, I might add.
Reporting major armor loss.
Yeah, that's actually a big problem because I just realized that you're going to get shot at a lot by the King Crab. So I need Finn. Finn, how close can you actually get to that King Crab in a single turn? You actually can get to maximum range. Okay, and you have sensor lock. Okay. We can make this work. Sensor lock down on the king crab, make him nice and easy to shoot at, and then I'm going to light him up with all the fire at my disposal. Set over to Inferno mode. Inferno mode, 69%.1 for maximum accuracy, and light him up. So 20 missiles, potentially. 125 heat is a good amount of heat to deal to him. And now Showboat will jump. Showboat can actually jump on top of him and punch him, which is so tempting. Your accuracy here is 99.1. I don't want to kill him. That's the problem. We deal 154 on a death from above attack. I don't want to kill this king crab. So you're going to fly, say hi, and yeah, all the fire you got.
All weapons are go.
And that's the shutdown. Okay, so I don't have to worry about the king crab. Next round, I gotta shoot the king crab, but for now, he's no longer active and doing anything. Going to rush on 4 so we can get a nice overwatching position over all of the targets we could ever want to kill. Turn the guns back on. Hunter, I don't really care about, not gonna lie. Could kill the vulture. I think the vulture would die a very deadly death. And the lament absolutely will die, and I will remove the lament from the equation today. There we go. XL engines. Very dangerous. Or there could have been an ammunition explosion. In an event, he's no longer on the field to spam his Rack 2s at us. They are still painful. I sometimes forget just how powerful Rack 2s can actually be for, you know, what you're sort of investing into them. So it is sort of somewhat important to remove them from the equation as soon as you can. I will rush on over here. We will, of course, not shoot the king crab. We have no interest in it. But we do have interest in blowing apart the vultures. So double tap. One hit. Not bad. Would have kind of hoped for more, but I'll take what I can get. And you can, of course, rush all the way around to the side, and you might actually have the killing blow on the vulture. 70% chance. Yeah, there goes most of him. And that'll knock him out. So, fairly solid amount of fire. We had a gyro ultralight. I don't like ultralight gyros. I think they're mistakes to have on the field. Because an ultralight gyro's biggest problem is the fact that once you start taking fire, you will lose your stability awfully gosh darn quickly. I do have a shot on the SM2, and I shall take it. Because I'm really just trying to rely on the artillery piece. Not bad. He hit him with about 3-ish, maybe even 4's worth of medium laser fire. It's nothing to really write home about, if I'm honest. Okay, some incoming fire on the Rakatar, but we do not care because, of course, the Thanatos has having that pirate laser AMS, which is just hilariously strong. Utilized in the right position can keep you all alive. Okay, we'll then rush on forward with Kerensky's stick. And let's start sizing up the next target we may actually want to take intact. King Crab is already sort of under work. Twin Aileron 20s. That's pretty impressive, actually. An Anubis, possibly. Really, none of these targets are all that interesting to me, so let's... I could just shoot you in the head. I have a 21% chance of accuracy. Go incendiary, and let's give him a little bit of love. The reason why I fired the hag as well is I was hoping to blow his head off, but no, the pilot ejected, and that was actually much more efficient than I was planning on. Alright, so we have the king crab out of the fight already, which is wonderful, and now we can start moving on to basically everybody else. The Anubis would be a good thing to take mostly intact because the Anubis has a whole bunch of risk gear on board. Not that, well, I'd like it in the pool, but I'm not going to select it. The Blackjack deciding not to shoot, which is really a bit of a surprise to me. That seems like a kind of perfect position to actually engage. Thumper firing and missing, however, still managing to hit us with some of that splash damage. We do have to kill that SM2 tank, though. It will be moving quite shortly. And firing another sniper shell at people, which does like 75 damage if it hits, plus the, you know, it's like plus or minus 30 on top of that. It hits like a truck, which is one of the reasons why it's somewhat in contention for grabbing onto the Mackie, depending on how we run things. I think I have the ammunition, just not the gun for the SM2, and I have the long Tom gun, but not the ammunition. Oh, that came close. A little bit of machine gun fire. They're clearly targeting the Screamer because the Screamer's right on top of them and almost got it to being unevasive, but you know what? We have that under control. So let's start charging on in so we can start lining up our next couple of targets. Obviously, we didn't get the Anubis in the location, but since one of my weapon systems was jammed, I'm not exactly broken up about it. Let's go kill the SM2, or... yeah, let's kill the SM2. Should be an easy kill on this one, and I'm going to set to... Do I have acid? I do have acid. Acid mode. Didn't quite do what I was hoping for. Also, we don't want to kill the artillery piece. We want to keep it very much alive, because if we lose that artillery piece, then that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to steal it. I'm also somewhat hoping that the king crab miraculously will somehow be in the list of be in the list of free stuff. Double tap on the blackjack. Oh, yeah, it's just not an amount of firepower that you want to take, buddy. He got double tapped by that, tore off his arm, damaged his leg. So we have the blackjack mostly under control. He's not dead yet, but we're working on it. Or maybe he didn't hit his leg. Huh, must have missed on that one. Did tear off his arm quite nicely, though. So completely gone. Although he's already at low armor. So that must have traveled. Just didn't seem to travel as much as I would have figured it would. Coach! Right, continue the Thanatos, bring it along. We do, of course, want to just steadily break the enemy down into little tiny chunks that I don't have to worry about. There's the SM2. And sure, we'll throw on the acids. Sniper artillery, of course, was destroyed by that shot. Unfortunate. But the enemy has been defeated, and that's kind of important. Since we weren't going to be going for getting all the stuff anyway, it's not the biggest of deals. I just kind of would have liked an easy way to sort of potentially pick it up out of the random salvage. We'll be a little bit disappointed. Catapult taking a little bit of fire because of the incoming missiles that were not able to be intercepted by the Thanatos. Still, he got 14 to 20, so he's doing pretty gosh darn good. The Raketar has one gun jammed and one gun still operational. So let's slide slightly over to the side. Let's take out the Thumper. Sure, that seems like a reasonable use of our time. Unfortunately, the accuracy proved to be way less than we figured it would be, and we did basically no damage onto the target. Did you? Good. Both guns are unjammed next round for a big old mech killing spree that it's about to go on to. No, I don't care about the Hunter, the Thumper, potentially. The Blackjack, no, we're not saving it. The Anubis, on the other hand, let's give him a little bit of love. I'm going to lay a sensor lockdown as well on the Anubis, just to make sure that we can get everything rocking and rolling. And not you, nor you, but indeed you. 81% with incendiaries. Never mind, he's dead. We set off something and detonated the whole mech. Oh, this is what happens when you attempt to actually steal mechs with heavy MRMs. It does not go as well as you might think it would. Just too much firepower to be dished onto the enemy. Sure, kill the Blackjack. Didn't kill the Blackjack. That actually really surprised me. Or did we? Oh, we did. Huh, that's amusing. Howl or Showboat? Showboat's Screamer actually would be in a fairly decent position to barbecue out a Hunter, so let's go ahead and do that. So, stomp, and it's gone. And that takes out the support lance, followed up with a little bit of additional fire, so that we can just keep the enemy fully under control. Barbecue. Alright, Howl, line up, prepare to take out the Thumper. You're probably not actually going to hit anything, but Warlord it up just for all the same. And double tap. Oh, wow. I actually managed to strike the target. Good job. Was not expecting that at all. So we just now have the single... whatchamacallit, the single avatar up on the field. If I can actually get a line of sight on him, since I can't with Finn, I shall reserve. Paradox can come charging forth with the charger, and whenever he sees the target next, he can basically beat the ever-living crap out of him, because when you have twin boomsticks, you can do basically anything you want. Well, just a little bit surprised I don't actually have a decent targeting solution on him, given my sensor coverage. There we go. So deliberately waiting on Finn to make sure the enemy would have an opportunity to move forward. They did not. They decided to run. Alright, if that's how you're going to play the game, then I suppose I have to chase after you. And we'll just chill out for a round, which we kind of need. It's not the most important thing in the world, but it is something that needs being done. Start to run on down towards the enemy. After all, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a chase. And Jester in the champion. We'll sprint as fast as you can. However, it's going to take a little bit to actually catch up to the enemy because moving out of water obviously takes a little bit of time. Thanatos is only good for direct fire artillery. It does not work indirectly with this cannon. The Risk Silver Bullet cannon is great, but it requires you to actually see what you're shooting. Can I hit you? I cannot. And the reason I cannot is because I cannot see it. Hi, surprise! And sure, let's fire everything we've got into your back. So, structure exposed, plus additional heat, which will stack up even more and more. Raketar is going to be able to get its heat under control since it doesn't have anything to shoot this round with its twin Rak 5s. And back on to Finn at phase 25. Is Finn going to be able to crest the hill? No, Finn will not be. Alright, we'll just run on forward then. And then Howl as well, just going to continue to push on forward. Eventually we will run into the enemy and we'll be able to take them down, but for now it's just going to take a little bit of time to try and get on top of them. So just everybody on forward so they can track them down and destroy them. Destroy them like they cannot resist. I assume you're going to be able to move out of Thanos. No, the Paradox is actually going to have to move before you. It's not a move you want, although you are lucky because Paradox isn't actually going to be able to see you on his move, but he's getting pretty gosh darn close. The champion, on the other hand, absolutely can break that line of sight. Hi, surprise. Let's full warlord. I'm not actually looking to steal anything from you. There we go. LBX cluster explosion takes out the entirety of the engine. It's got an XL engine built in, so you can't. So once that goes up, the whole mech is just completely done for. It's a little bit sad. It's actually the biggest weakness of the Racketar right now, because if anybody ever pops one of our side torsos, just the whole thing goes. So a little bit something to kind of keep your eye on if you ever get your hands on an Inner Sphere Omni. They tend to have that flaw. Minimal damage to the entirety of the Lance, although the Gas Wolf did take a pretty rough hit from that rack. And the Champion took a little bit of a denting, but most of our mechs didn't get touched at all. Alright, show me the King Crab. Yeah, I'm just taking the King Crab. Why? Because I could do so much with the King Crab. Let's go see the stuff that I'm not going to get. Obviously not getting the Arrow 4. We already have one, but it's nice to have two so I can, build up an artillery mech, but that's not going to happen. Plasma Cannon, I have 7. Don't ask where I got them all. Oh, there is a Sniper Artillery piece. Not going to risk it for the King Crab, but I am going to hope that the Sniper Artillery piece manages to show up in the actual countdown. And a weapon mount, that'd be lovely to have. Let it roll. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the game. The game robbing me of what I deserve. So now King Crab, 4 parts to it, which really does suck. We got a plasma cannon out of that, so we're up to 8. We got a large X-Pulse laser, which is interesting. Heat bang plus, the weapon mount, the Warfare Suite, some more ammunition for our arrow, which puts us up to 7 rounds, and more ammunition for the sniper. Great. So once I get a sniper, I can actually do something with it. I probably shouldn't have risked it all, but I've been so lucky lately. I've been so lucky, and you know what? That hubris has gone to my head, and I did not do what I should have done, which was just take the gosh darn sniper cannon. I'm gonna need it soon, because the Mackey's being built soon. The Mackey's getting a little bit more of a tune-up. I've been slowly putting more and more stuff onto it, waiting to actually mount the weapons onto the mech, because it's like, I don't know what I want to do with it. But the sniper cannon probably would have been exactly what I need to put onto the mech, and that's not gonna happen. Alright, 56,260 for the next 5 days. Relatively cheap for what we've just managed to accomplish. And a whole ton of parts. And I probably should sell the King Crab parts. I'll probably hold on to them until the end of the month, just because I don't want to lose them. 2 days on the Gas Wolf is pretty good. So our entire force... Ooh, 2 days also on the Champion. Alright, we're going to need about 3 days in order to fix everybody up. The Kraken is 8 days away. The Axeman is 5 days away. The Mackie is another 7 days, but the Mackie is, of course, just being patched, as is the Axeman. The Axeman is also going to need basically a full overhaul. So wait 1 and 2 and stop the clock. So 2 more days. Run that clock. Stop the clock. So 11 days before the end of the month, we are still very much in the not being able to survive said end of month. We're going to take a quick check of the faction shop. There's a couple of things actually surprisingly in the system shop. A full-on Banshee if you want to buy it for, 17 million C-bills, which I think is a little bit of an inflated price, but hey, that's just me. Anubis parts, which is always... Ooh, Clan ERP PCs. I need these to fix the lament. Alright, LRAC, so Light Rack 5s, not really interested at all. They're pretty terrible in my opinion. Oh, Clan Plasma Rifles. I want these so bad. Clan Plasma Rifles do 40 heat instead of the Inner Sphere 30 heat, which makes them way, way better. There's actually a lot of really good clan gear here. Unfortunately, I don't... Well, I do have the cash if I sell everything. So let me see what happens. Oh, risk MML 10s. How many am I currently sitting on? I have 4, so we're good on that one. If anything, I might actually swap out the MMLs on the catapult. Yeah, nothing useful in the engines. Ultralight gyro is pretty terrible. A turret mount. What does this do? +2 accuracy to weapons located in the same location. Oh, that's just it? That's interesting. I'd love to do it, but I don't have a mech that can utilize that. It only takes 1 slot, though. Ooh. I can make really good use of this, actually. Do I want 3 of them? Yes. Yes, I do. Why do I want 3 of them, you may ask? Well, because you can do some really interesting things. But first thing first, let's get ourselves sort of out of being, totally destroyed. I'm going to sell the trebuchet. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Worst comes to worst, how much am I currently banking? 1.3 million. I'm reasonably okay with that. So what I can actually do with that... Oh, the Thanatos break its gun. It does that a lot. Or the AMS. It did both. It broke both of them. Alright. So I have a couple of mechs that have sort of built-in torso mounts instead of built-in shoulder mounts. So what I can actually do with that turret mount is if I come over to the champion and I move its ammunition, because I stack the ammunition on top of it because I think it looks very good, we drop it down into, say, a leg, where it's still reasonably protected. Come over to our equipment. Oh crap, no, I can't do it. The mech is just not quite capable of doing this. Oh man, really? Really? That's so annoying, actually. Because obviously it's clear what I want to do with this is I don't know where it would be. It'll be somewhere in here. You're in a structure mount? No. Just a general... Oh, it's right at the top. Let's put a turret mount right here. But unfortunately I don't have the free slot at the moment because I'm using the heavy Pharaoh. That's actually kind of sucks a little bit. But that would be the idea, is to be able to start using torso weapons with much greater accuracy, which would actually make torso-mounted racks not as bad. Because normally what I would end up doing is I would take weapon mounts in order to reduce recoil by 1 and give you better accuracy. That at least gives me some saving grace to torso-mounted weapons. That I could do some interesting things with. God, I love this champion. Champion is so cool. Alright, so what can I do? Currency stick could get one. Only weighs a ton. You do not, because you already have weapons in your arms. You are an Omni-Mech and therefore it doesn't matter. Actually, could I mount it to you? Just in general? Do I even have the space to do that? Or are Omni-Mech parts not going to be compatible with this sort of equipment? That is always the question. You are also maxed out on torso slots. Oh, that's what we get for being hyper-aggressive. Because we've got that good old-fashioned interfere endo taking up all of them spaces. We need to start running into more clan endo because it is a bit of a problem. But theoretically, could I combine it? Nope. Alright. Probably is meant for torso locations. Chargers arm mounted, Thanatos is arm mounted, catapults are all arm mounted, Warhammer is just junk. I'm not even trying to hide it anymore, it's just a junk mech. Ooh, the Axeman can probably do something interesting then. Because it does have a torso mounted ballistic. The Mackie has a torso mounted ballistic, but it also has arm mounted ballistics, which I'm going to lean into a bit more. The Marauder can't do it because what I would want to do if I were to try and do this is I'd want to do something with this ballistic here, but the Long Tom takes up the entire location, and so that's not really an option to try and make that turret based. It'd be cool, but I wish I just had like one more slot so I could cram in a turret. That'd be so much fun. That would indeed be so much fun. Yeah, I've got to do something to this mech sooner rather than later. Although I do have a whole bunch of brand new fusion cores. So what I could do is I can just start, come over to cores. What am I... I thought I had 3. Alright, I put in one of the mechs. A nice big 360 rated fusion core, which I'm probably going to throw into the Axeman. Get you sort of started on that. How many engines do I have left? Single internal combustion, which I don't know why I'm holding on to it. I'll probably sell it sometime soon. A single light and a single Clan XL. Also a single Lamb engine, but we're not really making use of that. And obviously, of course, the Kraken will be getting our Clan XL, just to make it as hilariously powerful as possible. And especially now that I've got turret mounts, I could do some really cool stuff with that. Some really cool stuff. Because now his ballistic can actually work and do stuff. Because he's got 1. And I wasn't going to put a heavy Gauss, because 1, I thought it was too slow, and 2, because I figured it wouldn't be accurate enough. I'm going to have to think long and hard about what I want to do to that one. Thanatos is not done in 11 days, but let's check all of our pilots on this one. All of our pilots appear to be doing fairly well. There, of course, is Jester, having finally made it up to 10 gunnery. He'll be 10 tactics, and then 10 piloting, and then 10 guts, because, well, guts is kind of the least useful stat when it comes to that sort of thing. Omega is just slowly leveling up. Showboat, we're slowly trying to get her back up into a level where we can, you know, use her a bit more frequently. Do a quick check the command center, see what's sort of on the table for missions. Ooh, 3-scale assassinate. Sure, we can take that. I do, of course, want to wait until after the Thanatos is, you know, done, because Well, that'll be a bit of a risk. Stop. Stop the clock. Shoot. Didn't mean to do that. That's one more day. Okay, Thanatos is complete, which means we have that ready to rock and roll. Let's go grab that assassination mission.
Hey, Commander. Pull up
So 3 skulls, 998,000. We're going to take this one for full cash. Fighting a planetary government, which means basically anything goes. So we'll drop down on top of these people and we'll have a bit of fun. Once again, we're going to bring the Screamer, the Rakatar, because you need to bring the Rakatar, our Catapult 3 capture boat, and the Thanatos for a little bit of point defense. I have too many mechs. I shouldn't say things like that, but it is kind of true. Mockingbird drives the Rakatar because her 10 gunnery makes it least likely to jam. Finn goes in the Catapult because he moves at Tactics 10, which is super good. Coach drives a Thanatos, and that puts Showboat with the punchiness inside the Screamer. So yeah, 4.5 skull lance for a 3 skull mission on a Martian biome for a full-on assassination mission of some planetary government. Assassination missions tend to bring a lot of mechs up against you, but it is only a 3 skull, so we'll be able to basically pick our way through. What I'm kind of hoping for is to run into a couple of artillery units. Specifically, what I'm thinking is just another sniper tank, because that's what I need to steal. And in a mission like this, I will probably be just mostly grabbing parts rather than mechs, unless, like, the clouds part and we run into another king crab, which I really kind of doubt that we will. King crabs are incredibly rare, it feels like. Then we're probably not going to be getting anything mechs. There's probably nothing cool in the mech department. But Heart of Darkness, a former Tortugan commander backed by local government forces has set up his own government to avoid any unwanted personnel conflicts and to save our people the stress of fighting their former comrades. Tortuga Dominions requires a Merc unit to remove this traitor and keep him from destroying his own people. This will be a 470 priority salvage, 282,800 Z-bills at 3 skulls. So not exactly the hardest mission that you're ever going to take, not exactly the easiest mission that you're ever going to take, although they tend to lean towards a little bit easier side. But like I was saying, assassination missions tend to have a lot of units in them, generally about 4 stacks. You have the target, ambushing forces, supporting forces, and a support lance. So, with all of those sorts of things between you and your destination, it becomes somewhat important to just annihilate everything along your way. And if we are going for just trying to steal parts instead of actually trying to steal mechs, then things might actually work up quite nicely for us. Especially if we do, like I said, run into a couple of, say, sniper artillery pieces, so we can actually steal the gun, because that was kind of the thing that I need. I would like to put that on the Mackie, just because I think it'd be pretty cool on the Mackie. That'll help solve one of its biggest problems, and that is it's going to be fairly slow. So if I just give him a whole bunch of long-range fire support weapons, then I might actually be able to create some really cool things. I had half thought about maybe I should put in a long tom on the Mackie itself. That would be really cool. I just don't know how the hard points would line up on that one, because I do want the Mackie to look cool, not just be cool. But I think if I were to try and mount a long tom into something, it would probably end up being the Marauder Mark II, if we can run into one, which is another 100-ton mech. Well, it's a 100-ton Marauder, and is incredibly cool, and actually has its own individual model. It was one of the last models that got made for MechWarrior Online before they stopped making models. So if I can get my hands on one of those, that would be brilliant. But, of course, finding them is the big name of the game. And time to rock and roll. So dropping down to the planet right now with Sumire. Hopefully she's going to plant us in a nice, good location for us to engage. Apparently we have already achieved enemy contact, and I see a Nidhogg gunship, potentially. So life could get a little bit rough already. Although if we're on top of the enemy VTOLs, if they don't move this round, we may actually be able to kill them. So a whole bunch of jamming going down as we all decided that we're going to stomp each other. Apparently you're a warrior. Oh, that's not the one that I want. Yeah, but it's a Nidhogg. Okay, Cluster HE and Inferno Bombs, of course. MRM-10 Apollos, ammunition on board, plus an LB-10X. It's not the worst Nidhogg gunship you're ever going to run into, but it's not exactly going to be pleasant because, oh, there's a lot of bombs about to hit us. We also have a Demon Tank with heavy PPC, which would be nice to steal if I can get my hands onto it. So first things first, of course, we cannot move before these VTOLs. If we do, everybody currently has spawn protection, and attempting to do that is going to get you killed. So sit back, relax, and wait for the enemy to make the first move. It's going to screw you kind of over on the second turn, because there currently is now going to be a penalty applied to our initiative checks for the reserve, although higher tactics level pilots don't have to worry as much about that. But hopefully it won't hurt us too badly, or by the time that we turn around and shoot the peoples will explode and we won't have to worry about that. So, reserving all the way down to, I believe, 16. The Nidhogg should have already gone and didn't. I shall continue down to 16 and let the enemy make their actions. Mockingbird's going to pop up. I may just have Mockingbird turn around and blast him with a Rakatar. Oh, that may actually be the best possible option. Just unload on it with 12 AC. Oh, we got an Apollo. Alright, I got excited for a moment. And the point defense systems have engaged already. This Apollo apparently is equipped with some pretty serious weaponry, actually. That was at least some form of an X-Pulse laser. Yeah, we've got 2 medium lasers, Intex, 2 small lasers, Exostar, 2 medium pulse laser, Magnus. Oh, apparently not. It looked like it. Perhaps it came from us. Okay, so phase 18. Reserve. Let the enemy continue to make their actions and movements until we can turn around and suddenly assault them with massive amounts of firepower, the likes of which they have never seen. Darius, your commentary and assistance, as always, are incredibly useful, and, well, I kind of just want to... Oof, you are an idiot. It's not his fault, it's the game's fault, but still... the fact that he's warning me about this ambush at this particular moment in time kind of makes me think that maybe you aren't exactly paying attention to the exact telemetry coming from the mech at the moment. We're already being ambushed, so that's already been done. Got some long-range incoming fire, but Vantos has that mostly under control. We are, of course, going to set to overload soon once we want to fully kill all the enemy. J. Edgar tank, nothing too serious on that one. There is a mech behind it, though, and the mech is another Apollo. Lovely, and it is the exact same version of the Apollo, it looks like, so we have multiple Apollos to deal with. I believe they're 50 or 55-ton mechs. They're mid-weights, but they're not exactly all that useful. Compared to our catapults, they are not interesting to me. Our catapults are much more powerful, much more capable weapon systems in all that they can do. I will probably just now turn around and wipe out those VTOLs so I don't have to deal with them in the future. And in fact, if I can kill the VTOLs, the Apollo, and even the demon tank in one round, that might actually be ideal.
Watch the flank.
Getting shot at by the demon tank, utilizing his PPC, which managed to hit us twice on the back with the Thanatos.
Need to hold still for you.
So, now that we have that, can we locate the enemy? Local government forces. Trader commander is way off in the distance. Okay, so at least now we know where everybody stands. If I were to just sort of move up right behind the Nidhogg gunship, what would happen to said Nidhogg gunship? The accuracy would be absolutely amazing. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Make sure the MML is turned on to acid SRM ammunition. And you know what? I'm even going to warlord this because I want to make sure that this Nidhogg gunship dies. And the Nidhogg gunship is dead. Good job. So we're already taking care of that one without too much trouble. Now that we've dealt with him, the Charger, I think, has more important things to do than to worry about a single warrior. And instead is going to try and see if he can't get a side angle shot on you. He could, but it wouldn't be all that great. How about his front angle shot? 32, apparently. Why? I don't think I actually believe you, so I'm just going to rush up down here and see what the actual chances are. 61, alright, and 67. The demon, of course, does need to die, so I'm actually going to warlord to give myself a little bit better accuracy on this one. It's so interesting. We so often use the warlord more for accuracy than damage. And there goes the demon with all of his lovely equipment that we'll probably want to steal. Alright, so that's under control. Moving on to phase 13. And the enemies are all around us. Showboat could go ahead to punch. Showboat, could you death from above this VTOL? You could. That's a 61% chance. I'ma do it! This is such a waste. Hang on a sec. So, Berserker. Deadly precision check with 50% extra damage, plus 2 chance to hit, 30% reduced death from above self-damage, works with both death from above and melee attacks, 4 turn cooldown with 1 defense. Let's see if we can do it. Turn it on. Death from above. You can't use the Fire Fist. That's okay. 78% chance of making this work. Oh, I have to shut off my Fire Fist? Okay.
Got it.
Yes! Oh, that was everything I wanted it to be. We stepped on it coming down. Kind of wish I had done that to the Nidhogg. Oh, that officially makes me very, very happy. Alright, Mr. Apollo, hi. Yeah, you're causing me some minor problems here. Do I want to incendiary you? I could. I mean, I don't know what else I'm going to get my hands on, so yeah, let's go for the full incendiaries. I'm going to lay down a sensor lock as well, just to make sure that everybody else has a slightly easier time, because sensors are mostly offline for the first turn. As you can see, our accuracy jumped way up. So, incendiary MMLs, or MRMs, no Gauss rifle on this one. Just light them on fire. a lot of fire if you don't mind. Oh, almost completely torched. Mockingbird and the Raktar is of course going to turn around to deal with the other one, especially if she can get a side angle shot. Yeah, that'll work. So Raktar coming over here. We have a J. Edgar, which we don't really hear about, and the Apollo, which we will run the guns. And we will, of course, Warlord, one for heat control, but also because more accuracy. Oh, the amount of firepower that mech puts out. There's a reason we wanted the King Crab. Because having two of that plus all the other sorts of equipment that you could throw onto one of those mechs, it would have been so good. Unfortunately, there's only 4 parts to a mech in the hold. Warlord it up. Let's see, make sure we do as much damage as we can. Good, more hits onto the Apollo. So, is he going down? And he's on the ground. We'll deal with you in a bit, don't worry. I have you in mind. I won't forget about you. Although you may prefer it if we did. Turn on all of our weapon systems will come. Oh, also make sure that we AMS to overload. You actually can do that, like, from the start of the game. I probably should have been doing that, but I didn't think to. Aim right for his center torso and core it out, please. Didn't kill him. A little bit surprised. Somewhat disappointed. Because if we had managed to kill him, then I wouldn't have to worry about him in any capacity whatsoever. Okay, we're going to run up nice and close onto our little friend here. Make sure we switch to SRMs for the maximum accuracy. Swap over to Inferno rounds, and, well, enjoy the fire. So 185 heat. That will be a shutdown. So pilot injury, shut down, and next turn we'll be able to figure out exactly what we want to do. Alright, Paradox.
What's up, boss?
You're in the Charger. You probably could continue to shoot more things, but where is the next sort of lance? There's the local government. There's him. Right, so we need to start moving off in that direction. Quite a lot of ground to cover, too. I'm just going to start moving the Charger off in this direction, see if we can get a little bit of interesting information. Probably shouldn't run off too far, but I do have other plans on things to do with, of course, the things. Shift on right here. Oh, there was another tank. A Ranger. The Ranger has a lot of machine guns. Let's try and make sure the Ranger doesn't get to do anything. The Ranger no longer exists. Is that a mongoose in the back right there? Or just a hanging piece? It is a mongoose, okay. So 3 mediums, a small laser, and a couple of other pieces of equipment that we kind of don't really care about. If I'm completely honest, I do kind of want to shoot at you, but I'm going to shoot your buddy just to make sure that he dies. Ba-boom. So the mongoose has also been hit by multiple effects of damage. Showboat has taken how much damage to our legs? 70 to the 1. That's so 48 damage? Yeah, 48 damage he took to the one leg, and the other one took 38 damage? 37 damage? So I'm not quite sure how it decided to split that up, but you know what? I'm not going to complain too much. After all, it wasn't the biggest problem in the world. We managed to do something really, really cool. Of course, you have to move up here and take care of this guy. That's why I have you. This will give rid of any stability. Aim for the head. And sure, fire the medium lasers. Why not? Fire and medium lasers. And there he goes. Pilot's out. Taken care of. We'll bring the champion on over here because it's a fairly fast skirmishing sort of cavalry dealy. Neither target is particularly good, but the J. Edgar's a little bit better. Oh, I meant to say the mongoose, but you know what? That was gorgeous. Oh, just nailed him with that heavy Gauss, and the mech just kind of disappeared. That's everything I could have ever asked for. I shift on over to the side. We'll see if we can't get some decent fire onto this J. Edgar. Apparently not. Apparently we were just no accuracy. What's going on here? Target move plus 10. Some pretty decent dodging going on with this guy, but we did manage to nail him with one of our heavy weapons. Finn can start sort of moving into a position. I'm going to switch over to the LRMs. And I could get some long-range, inaccurate fire onto the target. Which, you know what? Sure, why not? Could actually... Oh, shoot. I turned it a little bit too much. Oh, well. Not the worst thing in the world to get the temperature back under control. And if he moves next, I mean, he's a J. Edgar. He's probably not going to do too much damage. I mean, there is, of course, the potential. But let's be honest with ourselves. It's a J. Edgar tank. It's not exactly powerful. We will instead keep Kerensky stick up with the Charger to make sure that he doesn't get caught out on his own. That is, of course, a very important thing. And kind of hope that J. Edgar doesn't make a move that is too powerful. Bandit up there is pretty decent to steal. It's equipped with a whole bunch of fire rockets and other sorts of equipment. It's a dervish, so it's a pirate version of the dervish. Not exactly interested in it. I have basically a mech that does everything it does and better. And that, of course, being our little catapults here. These 55-ton catapults are just absurdly good, and I'm half convinced that they're risk tech. I haven't ever taken the time time to sort of look up what they're about, but I kind of think they are actually Ristak. Alright, so it looks like the Jagger decided he did not want to move, and instead I will have Finn rush up on forward onto a target. Sure, we could start engaging him from maximum range. What could possibly go wrong? Is he in sensor range? We got a bandit. Oh, no, it's a bandit tank. Interesting. So we got a condor and a bandit. Neither of them are all that dangerous to me, honestly, so I'm not even going to bother. I thought for a second that it was the dervish version of the bandit. So since it's not, I have no fear. I have no reason to be afraid of you. And that would not be within range of my normal weapons, so I'm just going to continue to jump you along as well. I want to make sure that there's enough fire moving forward in order to keep things under control. Also, it works as a pretty decent tank. The charger as well, a sprint on forward for maximum aggression. Max range shot with AC-20s? Sure, why not? Oh my god, he nailed both of them. That was far better than it had any right to be, and I'm incredibly proud of you for pulling that one off. I do have to get the Thanatos on the move, but I am going to spend just a moment here to make sure that we can kill it. I will turn off my Silver Bullet Gauss, and I'm just going to lip into you with everything else that I have. I'm going to set the Pirate AMS to normal mode, so that I don't have to worry about it exploding. Alright, good job. So we've taken out 2 of the lances already, I believe anyway. And now we can just keep pushing in on the rest of the targets. The enemy hasn't shown any significant LRM presence just yet, so the Thanatos doesn't need to be on its powerful capabilities. Yeah, we're going to turn on everything. May as well incendiary you, just to see if we do the extra damage. And the bandit is dead. See, this is why twin heavy MRM-30s is just so brokenly powerful. Heavy MRMs on anything are just powerful, and I really should probably try and put more of them on more mechs. So the Kraken has enough space to put on a single heavy MRM-40, so that would be a pretty significant amount of firepower to be able to throw into the fight. And good, the Rakatar didn't actually jam its guns and will be able to get its temperature and its, well, other things under control. I've been saying that I need to get a better heatsink kit into that mech for a while now, and eventually I'll actually do it. Charger starting to take a little bit of long-range fire. None of it managing to connect, thanks to the fact that Charger has a fairly decent sensor system on board, which jams the enemy pretty good. Also, probably the rest of the support and the fact that the shot was long. We have a VTOL, a warrior, off over in the corner. Not all that worried about a VTOL, if I'm completely honest. Still don't have any sort of idea where the actual king is, which is kind of bugging me, because I like knowing where the king is so I can go after him and kill him with the maximum amount of efficiency. Alright, Finn, keep on forward, because you are part of one of the most important members of the capture group. And you have a line of sight. It's fairly decent. Do you have a line of sight? You do have an SRM line of sight, so of course we're going to take that one. I will, of course, lay down the sensor lock on the Condor, just in order to make my life a little bit easier. He does have an ER large laser, but then again, who cares? And missiles away. And shattered at the very last shot, perfectly calculated. Lovely. That is going to affect, however, his ability to chill out, but I think it should be fine. After all, we're only currently staring down a VTOL, and the enemy is a little bit trickled. I don't think we're facing a full lance for the backup, like, final king location, so I'm really not all that worried. Probably should have had you jump, but you know what? It's not the worst thing in the world. You're still a fairly nimble mech, even on the ground, just not as nimble as you are in the air. Would be even more nimble if I had improved jump jets onto you, but I don't have weapon systems to sort of take advantage of that. Yeah. The one downside of having done what we just did in terms of the jumping on top of the enemy is we took a whole bunch of damage to the legs. It's not gigantic amounts, but it is something to be in. Oh, your thing unjammed. I thought for a second you took damage. So where was I? Oh yeah, the repair time on the Lamb might be a little bit longer than might otherwise be perfect. Although combining it with Berserker does reduce the damage by 30% even more, on top of the amount of reduction already done thanks to the thingamabob, the whatchamacallit, all of the targeting systems and the directional jump jets and everything that basically improves its damage also reduces its actual self-damage from the jump jets. So it helps a little bit. Still not as reliable as I'd like though. Charger about to take a couple of smatterings of missiles, however unable to connect. Of course, the Charger far more nimble and evasive than anyone is able to handle. More incoming missiles. No more accurate than the last set, so these are probably the last 2 of this particular government support Lance 1. And it's a Charger and a Prowler multi-terrain vehicle with 2 medium pulse lasers. Not really in the market for medium pulse lasers, if I'm completely honest, but thank you for considering it. We'll keep that in mind when we go through our shopping list, and we'll probably ignore it.
Yes, Commander.
So Finn's catapult coming surging on forward as well. Still doesn't have a shot. Could switch over to the LRM versions, but I don't feel like wasting the opportunity at the moment. I'll just continue to push on forward with the rest of my mechs, and eventually we'll come over the hill and we'll just hit him with AC-20s, and that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, I can actually get a beautiful Overwatch shot right up here on top of these little hills, peeking over the coverage. Nothing actually in range, but that's okay. We'll brace up, make sure that we're nice and protected. Be able to tank as much as we possibly can. The Rakatar is probably not going to make it into combat. Unless the enemy is some fairly significant presence, the Rakatar has probably concluded its participation in this specific battle. Continue to push everybody up on forward as well. Kerensky's stick, of course, the big swagger stick of that it is, with the amount of firepower at its disposal, is absolutely hilarious. Enemy phase on 18. What do you got to do? Absolutely nothing, apparently. That's lovely. And the champion desperately trying to catch up. The champion and the Gauss Wolf will probably manage to pull it off. They're both very quick mechs. They're designed for this sort of nimble, rapid, reinforced reaction style of combat, able to flank around quite nicely. And the Charger, again, managing to avoid all damage, which is beautiful. If I can just get the Thanatos into range to make sure that he never gets an opportunity to try that again, that'd be even better. So just gonna come right up on top of you, make it so I can see you. Hiya, buddy. Probably don't need to invest this much firepower, but I'm going anyway. And there's no more warrior. We basically deleted it from the universe. Okay, gotta continue, come on forward with Finn. And we have identified a Megas. A Megas is that an 80-ton mech? It's got a MRM-40 standard, well, a pirate, with improved MRM ammunition, 2 light PPCs, and 2 ER medium lasers. There's no way that that is a heavy. It looks like a... Yeah, it looks like a Highlander. Are you the king? Because I'll try... Yeah, he's the king. Okay, we'll go for a capture attempt. I mean, there's no reason not to at this point. I do kind of want to make sure that I'm within range to support, but that's not going to happen. But I think I might be able to just shut him down before he can actually do anything to us anyway. Once Finn comes over the mountain and Kerensky's stick comes over the mountain, the dude's at full armor anyway. So it should be just fine. Can I get a line of sight onto the tank?
Here we go.
Come bouncing on over here. Take a peek. 80% is beautiful.
Got it.
Double tap, managed to spread the damage across multiple locations, so it's not exactly concentrated just yet, but it doesn't need to be. Champion kind of zip on forward, hopefully catch up. In probably about 2 turns is when he'll be able to start using that heavy Gauss rifle to greater effect. Kerensky's stick, next turn perhaps, depending on how the cover actually works sort of off in the distance. The Martian biome, not one that we normally come to. It's very interesting though. It's kind of like the combination of a desert, except a little bit worse, I believe. Which is kind of amusing, because Mars is supposed to be really cold, isn't it? Okay, a little bit moving off to the side. Not actually doing anything. Dude, I'm going to capture you. I mean, I don't see any reason not to. You've got a pair of light PPCs and MRM-40s. But a little bit of long-range fire once again with the Charger, but no connection. He is just too nimble and evasive to actually be touched by any actual targets. So, his heavy MRM-40 could be dangerous. I'm not quite sure what the pirate MRM-40 does, but we're going to find out. Alright, Paradox and your Charger, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, he's not going to be able to make it all the way across. It's kind of disappointing. Alright, we will be protected in the whirlwind for a little bit of extra protection. It is basically a forest on the Martian biomes. And the catapults. He will be visible too, which I don't want him to be. So we'll come down a little bit lower. So next turn we'll pop over out of cover and just start laying into him with everything we've got. And you are probably another turn after this. Yeah, you're one more turn from being able to pop over the edge as well to engage that Prowler. Jester even further back, so he might be a turn and a half, 2 turns. Although you can't really have a half a turn when we're talking about full-on movement in this game. Shoe boot absolutely can get on top of the target. I can't quite make it to the target, but I can get flamers onto it, so that should help out a little bit. Could have gone for the jump. Wanted to get a little bit of stability going on here. Twin lasers plus the fire and propulsion crit, but he's not quite dead. That will slow him down though, and make life just a little bit easier to take him down. Thanatos having quite a bit of ground to cover. I kind of want to be able to turn this thing on to maximum defense mode by the time the Megas actually gets involved to make sure that his heavy MRMs don't actually get to do anything. Okay, light PPCs shrinking on... Ooh, yeah, I forgot. The pirate light PPCs can fire in rapid fire mode. So he shoots like 6 times. Manages to hit the Screamer once, which is a bit unfortunate. But the Screamer, I imagine, will actually be able to get out of this fight in fairly short order. Probably going to do one more shot against the little vehicle there and then bail. Currency stick. Next turn, I anticipate you'll have an accurate shot on something with your incendiary heavy MRMs. Okay, little prowler. What are you going to do? Probably flee. Oh, so close to being able to kill him. And a little bit more live fire towards currency stick, but not able to connect on our lovely little Orion. Little. It's a 75-ton mech, and it's one of the better ones. Prowler multi-terrain, moving over to the side a little bit. And Finn's up at the top of the standings. I do have an obstructed shot there, and that's all I've got. So I will run through the radiation field. We can handle the heat. And that is the Megas, utilizing our Infernos. And I'm also going to lay down an extra sensor lock onto him. Hopefully I can get a little bit better accuracy as we move forward, so that I can fully take control of him. And Inferno's away. Let's get this party started. So a little bit of heat has already been dealt onto the target. The Thanatos is still like 2-3 turns away from actually being able to provide any support. See, this is why it has the risk silver bullet Gauss rifle. Because I knew it wasn't going to have an easy time actually getting into a range to help out anybody. Okay, you can sort of stand in a position of defense. In the meantime, throw a shot over your shoulder. Fire slugs and go full Warlord just to make sure that you don't hit anybody. Except, of course, for the target. Popped it up into the air with a one shot and then shot it out of the sky with a second. That's the sort of hot trick shooting that I expect from my commanders. That'll also be an obstructed shot, but it's a little bit higher ground, so I'll probably take better advantage of that. Do not use the heavy Gauss rifle. I have no intention of utilizing it. However, my heavy MRMs are about to be extra toasty, so get him burning. Lots of damage being sent onto him, and that's a shutdown. So the Megas is already under control. So he will not be able to turn on in time in order to stop what it is we are about to do to him. And once we manage to get Showboat on top of him, she can start laying the fire down onto his face. And that tends to be a rather efficient way of killing people. They tend to not want to be in the vicinity of flamethrowers being shot on their own heads. So unfortunately, Showboat's initiative is quite low. There's nothing I can do to stop that, unfortunately. That'll do. Are you actually in flaming range from here? You're not, but you have not a high enough chance. So I'm just going to save on that one. Yeah, you're not turning on, buddy. I have made sure of it. You are just going to be on literally all the fire. And you can walk right up in here with the charger. Sure, make sure that you're visible to him so he understands exactly what he's about to get involved with. And then Finn, get on top of him. Because you need to dish out all the heat. And I don't really care about temperatures at this moment, so we're just going to lay in all the Infernos. Plus 204 heat and a knockdown. He is maxed on temperature. Pilot does not want to bail. He thinks that he's got this thing handled. Okay, Showboat. Why don't you get in nice and close and demonstrate to him why he should probably get out of the gosh darn mech. A little bit of fire on laser fire. Heat critical. Oh, he thinks he's got this. He has no fear. And why would he? The situation is perfectly under control. After all, they're not exactly going to bring an Orion on top of him. Oh, wait. We're about to bring an Orion on top of him. Jester still needing to get into the range. Jester actually could try and do a little bit of surgery. He does, of course, have a 20%. 16.5 is not good enough. Hold on that one. Death Crusade. Bring currency stick nice and close. I want to make sure that we have the best accuracy that money can buy. Alright, so you are going to be doing 2 damage a shot, which means 120 damage in total. So aim for the face and try not to hit anything else. Gyro removed, ECM, engine destroyed. I don't think we destroyed the center torso though. We're about to find out. I wasn't really serious about getting a Megas, but it would be nice. The only reason I kind of went for it is because, you know, make a little bit of extra money on the side, but it's not exactly the most critical thing for our success in the near future. 172,000 because we managed to increase it by other things. Yeah, the Screamer took a little bit of damage from the drop, but other than that, most of us got out without a scratch. Oh, the Apollos came in also. Hey, the Megas did come in full things. It is a 90-ton mech, apparently. Apparently it's a Highlander. So I will probably just grab all of this. I'll sell it, most likely, but the heavy PPC Pirate is an interesting choice and perhaps where we'll go. We could pick up 3 light PPCs if we wanted to be absolutely crazy about it. Beagle Active Probes are always nice. Endo Steel, I think I had plenty of. Yeah, I have 2 of them. Ooh, these would be great to sell. I don't use XL engines, so getting rid of them is actually probably a really good idea. Ferrofibros, double heatsink, heavy ferro, legged spiked boots. Ooh, I need these. And a lower melee actuator. I need that as well. We'll hope to get lucky. I don't have any need for the Megas, but I do need more spiked fists. Get that out. Get all of this out. We're gonna grab the melee gear. Who had the melee equipment? Is this all coming from the Megas? Melee actuator, prototype zinc, spiked helmet. I have these already. I have 2 of them. Warfare suite, LBX clusters. I have an Axeman to build. I need all of that stuff in order to construct him properly. Okay, and we'll grab the XL engines to sell. If we get really lucky, we might get the Megas, but I'm not exactly holding my breath. I got 1 part. Well, we got 3 parts of the Mongoose, 4 parts of an Apollo, and 2 parts to a Megas. Picked up 190 rated fusion core, which we'll sell, of course. More heavy ferrofibrous, which I don't think I did have 1, so having 2 puts us in a nice position. More prototype double heat sinks, which is useful because we tend to need them. And some incendiary MRM ammo, which is always nice. Might be something to mount onto another one of our mechs as a bit of a backup weapon that causes less damage if we want to sort of lean more into incendiary MRMs. So yeah, fairly solid pickup on that one. Not bad. We can sell all those parts. Really, really tempted to keep my hands on the king crab parts, because king crab parts, well, if I run into 1 king crab, I don't need to invest all that much into getting it anymore. Oh, we had kind of moved away from this. We had moved very much away from this, and then I didn't get it when I tried to. 3 days repairs, that's probably all on the Screamer, if I'm honest. Maybe I'll get lucky, it'll just be 2 days on the Screamer, and I'll be able to turn this around into another mission this month. Yeah, 2 days on the Screamer, 1 day on the Thanatos and the Kraken, so we are 2 days away from another fielding. The Axeman is a day away, and will actually be done by the time the Screamer's done. And we did pick up a whole bunch more melee gear, so 1, 2, stop the clock. 5 days before the end of the month. We are still very much a million C-bills in the hole, but I want to take a quick look at my brand new Axeman. I didn't finish building it by any stretch of the imagination. I'm fairly certain that it's just fixed, right? Yeah, we basically just fixed it. So, things we can now do to it thanks to picking up that melee actuator. And wherever it happens to... Oh yeah, equipment. Lower actuators. Lower melee ++. So +1 melee accuracy, 20% melee damage. Haha, I can just put it right under there. Spiked fist in the other fist, of course. Oh, it doesn't... Spiked fist is a hand actuator only? Oh, and it doesn't have hands. Well, that's dumb. Can I put a combat shield into it? Because that'd be fun. It's also a hand actuator. What if I were to try and put it in the other one? So, spiked fist on here. Spiked fist actuator's hand occupied by prototype Coventry blade. Alright, so we are going to be a little bit limited as what we can actually do. So no spiked fist, which is really disappointing, but we did manage to get our hands on a pair of spiked legged boots. There we go. That'll be an obvious include onto the mech, just for a little bit of extra damage. And of course, we do have the... There it is. I was wondering for a second. Spiked armor for all the bonuses. We even have a spiked cockpit head. Give me my spiked helmet. Yes. Of course, don't forget the lower melee actuator. The plus 20% melee is basically a fist, so that'll be lovely. We need another one of these, though, so we can put it over here. Can I mount a retractable blade? It's a hand actuator as well. Gosh darn it. Can't even put a hatchet on there. Because the hatchet is also a hand actuator. Who builds a melee mech that doesn't have hand actuators? It seems like a very poor design. Oh, but that's still going to be... We've still already started building up quite a bit of melee capability onto this mech. I need to install a fusion core at some point. Oh, a turret, of course. We'll go on his shoulder for whatever cannon we want to make sure. But this is just sort of a beginning idea of what it is we're going to start building into this. The Axeman we're going to try and turn into a fairly decent juggernaut of a mech. And I don't know why the Axeman is glitched like this. I assume it has something to do with the fact that it is a hatchet man, essentially. Because it also does not spin like all my other mechs. So there's something a little bit buggy about it. I'm also somewhat afraid to try and field it because of that. Yeah, 65 tons to build into a melee mech. I'm looking forward to it greatly. But that's going to do it for today's episode, folks. I have been Tarek. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I post one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next episode.